Good morning, dear students. Welcome to the online classes by the Department of English. I am Jisha Menon, and today I am going to deal with a new chapter, chapter number 12, The Voter by Chinua Achebe. Well, Chinua Achebe is one of the prominent writers from Africa who wrote in English. He was a Nigerian short story writer, poet, critic, novelist, and a professor as well. His first novel, Things Fall Apart, that was his magnum opus 2, it became an instant success. And soon after that, people started reading about the African life during the post-colonial era. One of the important themes that we find in most of his works is the clash between Western ideologies and the traditional African culture. We all know until 1960, Nigeria was ruled by Britain. Soon after the British left, during the post-colonial era, there was a lot of changes happening in the country. They started going for democracy, elections were being held, and people from different clans, they started coming forward as contestants. And it is one of such themes that he is going to deal with in this short story, The Voter. What Chinua Achebe tries to tell us is that elections are nothing but farce and mockery of democracy. Genuine contestants are losers, and rogues and rascals, they get elected to govern the people. There are many themes that we find in The Voter. There is a theme of corruption, loyalty, power, money, and many more. So the voters are considered to be very powerful in a democratic state. We've defined democracy as the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We elect our own representatives. But what do we find in today's democratic world? Contestants are ready to bribe, and people are ready, or voters are ready to accept bribes. So they do not think about the long-term effect of having a good governance in the country. Instead, they all think about having a little money or getting a little money at the time of elections, the money that is offered by the candidates or the party. So, in short, The Voter describes the advantages and disadvantages of democracy in the newly independent state of Nigeria. So now let's look into the chapter. The Voter, Chinua Achebe. Let me read the first paragraph. Rufus Okeke, Roof for short, was a very popular man in his village. Although the villagers did not explain it in so many words, Roof's popularity was a measure of their gratitude to an energetic young man who, unlike most of his fellows nowadays, had not abandoned the village in order to seek work, any work, in the towns. So we have the protagonist introduced in the first line itself. Chinua Achebe has introduced the hero of the short story, Rufus Okeke. Now, Rufus Okeke is known as Roof, or he is addressed throughout the story as Roof. The story is in the third person narrative and is considered to be very popular in his village. And there are several reasons for it. The first reason is that he is a young and energetic man. Naturally, people would like young, energetic boys rather than lazy ones. So since he was young and energetic, people liked him. There is one more reason that he tries to project. What is that? Usually, the young men had the habit of leaving their villages and going to towns. And why do they go to towns or cities? In order to seek work. And he mentions any work that they get in the city they are happy with. So, Roof was not like other young men or other young boys. Roof did not abandon his village, he did not leave his village forever, like the other boys who had gone to the cities in search of work. We see that practice everywhere. There is always a rush to the cities. And in the post-COVID times, soon after the lockdown ended, we found all the migrant laborers coming back from cities to their own villages. But in general, usually people would prefer cities because there are many job opportunities. So in the post-colonial Nigeria also, this is a pattern. And Roof was not a village lout either. And one more reason is that he was not a lout. Lout means stupid, arrogant, aggressive young man. He was not aggressive or stupid. He was a man of reason. Everyone knew how he had spent 2 years as a bicycle repairs apprentice in Port Harcourt and had given up of his own free will a bright future to return to his people and guide them in these difficult times. And one more thing everybody knew. He had visited the city. He had gone to the city. Which city? Port Harcourt. And Port Harcourt is one of the largest cities in Nigeria, the capital of Rivers State. So Roof had visited Port Harcourt and he was working there as a bicycle repairer's apprentice. Apprentice means assistant. And Chinua Achebe tells us that he had a bright future as a bicycle repairs assistant in the city of Port Harcourt. But he did not continue there. 2 years he worked. Then he came back. Why did he come back? To guide the people of his own village. Not that Umofia needed a lot of guidance. So the name of his village is Umofia. So Umofia did not need assistance or guidance from Rufus Okeke. Even then, he felt that his village is calling him and he came back, not continuing there as a bicycle repairs apprentice. The village already belonged en masse to the People's Alliance Party and its most illustrious son, Chief the Honorable Marcus Abe. So now, already the village supported a person from People's Alliance Party. He is Marcus Abe. Marcus Abe is referred to as Chief the Honorable. He was the honorable person from the village and he was the leader of the party, People's Alliance Party. So illustrious son means hard-working son. So the entire village supported the leader of People's Alliance Party, Marcus Abe. So he was already there, available in order to support and guide the people of Umofia. And was Minister of Culture in the outgoing government, which was pretty certain to be the incoming one as well. See, what was Marcus Abe? Marcus Abe was Chief the Honorable. He was one of the leaders of People's Alliance Party and he was the Minister of Culture. So Umofia already is guided by the Minister of Culture. In the outgoing government, which means the government's term is going to end and there is going to be an election. So Marcus Abe is the outgoing Minister of Culture and they were almost sure that even after another election, definitely Marcus is going to continue as the Minister of Culture. They were sure that he would be re-elected. Nobody doubted that the Honorable Minister would be elected in his constituency. And people never doubted that he would have an opposition. Definitely he is going to be elected, and if elected, definitely he is going to be the minister in the government. They were much sure about it. Opposition to him was like proverbial fly trying to move a dunghill. Now, one peculiarity of Chinua Achebe is that he often brings in proverbs from African language. So here you will find one proverb, fly trying to move a dunghill. Dunghill is nothing but a heap of dung. So you always find flies hovering around this cow dung. Do you think that they are capable of moving this cow dung? Never. Still they keep hovering around it. So, fly trying to move a dunghill means trying to do an impossible task. So, opposition to Marcus Ibe was an impossible task. It will not work out. It would have been ridiculous enough without coming, as it did now, from a complete non-entity. So now opposition has come, which means in the coming elections there is someone standing against Marcus Ibe. And that has come from a non-entity. Non-entity means an unimportant person or a thing. So from an unimportant source, opposition has come. So there is an election going to be held. Marcus Ibe is contesting from the village of Umofia. He is already supported by the people. En masse means altogether supported by the people of Umofia. And there is opposition. Though it's not going to work out, it has come from a very, very unimportant source. So this is how Chinua Achebe introduced two important characters in this short story. First one, Rufus Okeke, and second one, Marcus Ibe. And what's the name of the village? Umofia. As was to be expected, Ruf was in the service of the honorable minister for the coming elections. Now, it's already said that Rufus Okeke has come back to his village. And what does he do in the village? What is his job? He was in the service of the minister, which means he was an assistant to the minister, a person who works as one of the campaign boys during the election time. He had become a real expert in election campaigning at all levels, village, local government or national. He could tell the mood and temper of the electorate at any given time. Now, electorate means voters. So, Ruf is now in the service of Marcus Ibe, the Minister of Culture, and he is a real expert. How can you consider him as an expert? Because he was very good at understanding the mood and temper of the electorate. He knows how the voters would think. He could tell in whose favor the voters are going to vote. For instance, he had warned the minister months ago about the radical change that had come into the thinking of Umofia since the last national election. Now, for example, already we have been told by Achebe that Ruf was very good at understanding the voters. And one example to state we can find, he understood that the people of Umofia had started thinking differently since the last national election. So this is not the first election that was going to be held. So since the last election, there is some change happening in the minds of people. Ruf had understood that, and Ruf had already warned the minister, we have to be very careful with the voters this time, because there is a complete change in the thoughts of the people. The villagers had had 5 years in which to see how quickly and plentifully politics brought wealth, chieftaincy titles, doctorate degrees, and other honors, some of which, like the last, had still to be explained satisfactorily to them. For in their naivety, they still expected a doctor to be able to heal the sick. Now, the villagers had seen Marcus Ibe and his party in the last 5 years. And they understood one thing. Soon after entering politics, it has brought many things to Marcus Ibe. Wealth, for example. So soon after entering politics, soon after becoming the Minister of Culture, Marcus Ibe had started amassing wealth. And chieftaincy titles. See, one thing about Nigeria is that there are many prominent clans. Igbo is one of the clans there. 17% of the population in Nigeria belong to Igbo clan. And our Chinua Achebe, the author, he himself was an Igbo chieftain. So here, chieftaincy titles, important positions in the clan have been conferred upon Marcus Ibe soon after he became the minister. Doctorate degrees. See, in order to get a doctorate degree, you have to do research minimum for 5 years. And here, honorary doctorates are conferred upon the minister because of his ability to govern the people. And people of Umuofia found all these things. Soon after entering politics, Marcus Ibe, just an ordinary citizen from their own village, had got wealth, and he was conferred many chieftaincy titles and doctorate degrees, etc. And the poor villagers did not understand how it was possible. And again, when you are conferred a doctorate degree, you can add DR, doctor, before your name. And they never understood how Marcus Ibe could become a doctor. Why? Because in their naivety means innocence, in their innocence, they expected a doctor to be able to heal the sick. Heal means cure. They thought any doctor should be able to treat the sick people. And they knew very well Marcus was not able to do that. So the poor illiterate villagers did not understand all these things. They only understood that many things had come to Marcus Ibe soon after entering politics. Anyhow, these honors and benefits had come so readily to the man to whom they had given their votes free of charge 5 years ago, that they were now ready to try it a different way. Now, you just see, people understood one more thing. Though they were innocent villagers, they understood one more thing. They had given their votes free of cost to Marcus Ibe and his party, People's Alliance Party, during the previous election. And they gave him their votes free of charge. And he became wealthy and he became prominent. So this time they decided that they are going to have it in a different way. Let's see what it means in the next paragraph. Their point was that only the other day, Marcus Ibe was a not too successful mission school teacher. So what was Marcus Ibe before he entered politics? He was a mission school teacher. He was a school teacher working in a missionary school. And was he successful at that? No. So he was not a successful school teacher. Probably he did not teach well, or the students did not like him. Anyhow, he is described as an unsuccessful mission school teacher. And people will never forget the past. They will always have all these things in their memory. Then politics had come to their village and he had wisely joined up, some said, just in time to avoid imminent dismissal arising from a female teacher's complaint. So, soon after politics came to the village, or as he was working as a school teacher, politics came to the village. And he was a very wise man. He used his intelligence. He understood there is a bright future in politics. He joined politics and then he became the Minister of Culture. But there is a rumor also. What's the rumor? To avoid imminent dismissal means compulsory dismissal. He was about to be dismissed from his career as a school teacher because a female teacher had complained against him. So there was a case against him. A lady teacher who worked with him had given a complaint against him, probably a harassment sort of complaint. And to escape from this, he quit his job and joined politics. This is what people said. This was a rumor. Today, he was Chief the Honorable. He had 2 long cars and had just built himself the biggest house anyone had seen in these parts. Now today, what is his position? An unsuccessful mission school teacher has become the Minister of Culture. That too, there was a case against him, a case of harassment by a lady teacher. And today, he is considered to be Chief the Honorable, honored by everybody in the village, with lot of titles conferred on him. And he also has material wealth, 2 long cars he has. Then he had built one huge house in his village. Nobody has seen such a big house in that part of the country. Such a huge house he has built. So he has amassed a lot of wealth. But let it be said that none of these successes had gone to Marcus' head, as well they might. But even then, people said, though he owns 2 cars and though he has got a big house, though he is the Minister of Culture, he is not headstrong. He remained humble. That's what people believed. He remained devoted to his people. Whenever he could, he left the good things of the capital and returned to his village, which had neither running water nor electricity, although he had lately installed a private plant to supply electricity to his new house. So now what's the condition of his village? No running water, no electricity, basic things that we require today to live. Running water means water that comes through the pipe. So the village is in a very, very backward state, we have to assume, because there is no running water, no electricity also. Even though Marcus at times came from the capital to live in this village. See, in the capital city, he might have got a big mansion and he was enjoying all the luxury and comforts. Even then, he left those comforts and luxury and he came back to the village to be with his villagers, some of the villagers said. And there is one more thing, lately means recently, he has installed a private plant to supply electricity to his new house. So though the villagers did not have electricity, in the new house that Marcus has built, electricity is there, a private plant had been built there. So that tells us what Marcus Aibe is. See, throughout the story, we find Chinua Achebe so satirical. All his comments are in an ironic way. He knew the source of his good fortune, unlike the little bird who ate and drank and went out to challenge his personal spirit. So, this is the second proverb that he uses, a proverb from Africa. Little bird who ate and drank and went out to challenge his personal spirit. What does it mean? It means forgetting your source of nourishment. The bird eats and drinks and it forgets from where the source of nourishment comes from. Marcus is not like the little bird. He never forgot his source of fortune. What's the source of fortune for him? His own villagers, Umofia. So Marcus Aibe always came back to his village. He never forgot his source of fortune. He remembered his villagers always. So he left the comforts of the city, capital. He came to live in his own village. And Marcus had christened to his new house Umofia Mansions in honor of his village. And he had slaughtered 5 bulls and countless goats to entertain the people on the day it was opened by the archbishop. And now see one more thing. He christened his new house. Christened means named. How is his new house named? He named his new house Umofia Mansions. Why Umofia Mansion? Mansion means a big house. So why did he call it as Umofia Mansion? To honor the village, to honor the villagers. That's the name of his village. And now, one more thing he did. He offered a grand feast to all the villagers. He slaughtered means killed or butchered 5 bulls and countless goats. Those many bulls and goats were butchered and a feast was arranged for his own villages. And when? On the day it was opened by the archbishop. Who opened it? Who inaugurated it? Inauguration means the housewarming ceremony, as we say in our areas. It was opened, it was inaugurated by the archbishop, the head of the church. So he was the minister of culture, honored by everyone. He's called as Chief the Honorable. One of the hardworking men from the village of Umofia built a huge house, opened by the archbishop, offered a grand feast to the villagers because he never forgot them. And though the village was in a backward state, he had all the comforts in his new house, Umofia Mansions. And it was in Marcus Ibe's service that Ruf was working. Rufus Okeke is considered to be a young and energetic man. He never left his village to seek some sort of work in the city. Instead, he came back to guide the people of Umofia in the difficult times. So what is the difficult times that he has mentioned in the voter? The difficult times refer to the time of elections. The elections have come and people needed guidance. And his duty was to do campaigning for Marcus Ibe, the Minister of Culture. So dear students, I think we can stop here, and in the next class we will see what happens to the election campaigning of Marcus Ibe and Rufus Okeke. Thank you.